This is a scene of anywhere in the world. A group of mates gathered by a racetrack, having a bit of fun. But this is Taiwan, and this is the story of one man in Racing Island. The pursuit of man to compete is something that goes back thousands of years, with the Romans and their chariots. The knights during the medieval times, the cowboys and their chuck wagons, as soon as the bicycle was invented, this form of racing also took off. The age of the combustion engine and motor cars. And as soon as man took to the sky, he was racing planes. But in between cars and planes, as soon as engines were attached to bicycles, in the early 1900s, motorcycles became an inexpensive form of racing. While the tracks in many cases were just dirt, and safety gear was not even considered, still, the early motorcycle manufacturers, such as Harley-Davidson and Indian, all took part. By the 1920s, the biggest change to the sport were the rules and sponsorship. But just as the early days, it was still a very grassroots activity, with most of the riders having day jobs. During World War II, most motorcycle racing had stopped, since manufacturers such as Harley-Davidson, Royal Enfield, and others were manufacturing for the war effort. But due to the improvements at this time, in the 1950s and 60s, motorcycle racing really took off. The bikes got bigger and faster, and their aerodynamic designs improved them dramatically going around the track. In other areas of improvement, safety gear. Motorcycle racing was so popular that at the height of the Cold War, it also appeared behind the Iron Curtain. In 1961, the East German government created the East German Grand Prix to attract international attention. But by 1972, and the win of West German rider Dieter Braun, the East Germans closed the Grand Prix to all Western riders, only allowing riders from the Soviet bloc from taking part. In the 1950s and 60s, Taiwan was in a very different place after the nationalists fled to the island in 1949. In the 1970s, two-wheeled transport started to take off. By the 1980s and 90s, scooters and motorcycles started to outnumber cars. By the 2000s, this number increased dramatically. And while racing to this point had been done on a small scale, it was around this time that it moved to the tracks. On an overcast Saturday morning in Taichung, racing enthusiasts gather to set their times for their positions for the main race. A lot has changed in the last 25 years. Today you find many motorcycle shops who sponsor the racers. But despite this, the grassroots feeling isn't far behind. One of the racers taking part is Robbie Kilpatrick from the United States. And while perhaps being a little bit older than most of the racers taking part, the enthusiasm he has is still there.
I feel great. A little tired, but feeling good enough to be the champion. Have I been the champion before? I might have. I actually don't know. I forget. That sounds silly, I know. But I think I was the B-class champion before. Yeah. There's like A, B, C, and D. I've never been an A-class champion, no. They're too fast.
As the time nears, a bit of nervousness sets in. A feeling which isn't unusual for any sport. Trying to go through what needs to be done to set the best lap for your position for the main race. Final checks are not just about machine, but also about human. You can have a bike that is performing in tip-top shape, but if the rider isn't, all bets are off. Then comes the moment to walk the distance to take your place to the starting position, going through all your thoughts, trying to relax. As your heartbeat increases, and adrenaline starts pumping throughout your system.
Wasn't my greatest performance, but overall okay.
The second day, race day, with the sun shining, brings on a whole different mood.
My assistant right here doing?
Yeah.
He's just making tea, you know, and making cookies for me, you know. But he's checked the tire pressure. He'll walk out with me. He'll take the bike for me. Doing it by yourself, just alone, it's kind of tough. It's just kind of busy. What do you guys help me out with? Why do I have assistants?
Massage.
Massage. Anything
Massage.
else? Anything else you help me with?
Showering.
This is
Blocking the sun.
Ah, you do block the sun.
Block the sun. Umbrella boys. Yeah.
All right, we're almost ready to go out the pits. Let's see. I'm gonna take a look at it. Yeah, bikes are lining up, so it's almost time.
You see how many laps?
We can wait. We wait to. They'll be going out with us. Don't worry.
Minutes before the race, everyone was getting hyped, and the excitement that was not present 24 hours earlier was seen on everyone's face. Even walking to the pits seemed different. There was a feeling of confidence in the air, not just with the racers, but also with those who were spectators. On the track itself, when friends and team members were present to take pictures and wish the riders well, this was also adding to the excitement and to the possibility of an aggressive race. Before the final countdown, there was still one opportunity to check that systems were all go. And then came time to see if all the sweat and hard work had paid off. Hours later, it was time to hand out trophies. The racer may have not come in at first place, but he did come in at a very respectable second in his class.
来到这边帮我们颁奖，来恭喜第3名，来自于玩具车队的邓女士。好，第2名来自于奇胜技演奇胜的克罗比，冠军恭喜亚居的林冠成。好，一样帮我看一下中间的摄影团队哦。OK 哈，好，掌声恭喜！接下来颁发的是250第3名，恭喜豪威车队的吴玉文，第2名恭喜45 Racing 的陈冠洲，冠军恭喜荣全荣兴的张祥哲。
Look at this thing, it's like gold.
Okay, any comments about today's race now that it's been over for a while? What do you want to say?
好，250B 组。
I worked really hard. I'm really proud of myself actually because I wasn't doing very good yesterday.
0B 组，250B 组。
Yeah, like it was one of my hardest races actually
250B 组第3名。
because I qualified in 10th position, but actually in my class I was 8th, and I just worked hard at it. I kept my pace going. I was consistent in my lap times. I actually broke my record for fastest lap, which I'm now at a 59.1. won. Yeah, it was good. I felt just, you know, I had the rhythm going. I felt good. The riders are really just going their hardest. Everyone's on the limit. I was too. I mean, I didn't have any big slips or any scares, but I was on the limit, trying my hardest, trying to keep up with everybody, because the guys in front of me were not slow. Some of them could possibly be better riders than I am, but they just, whatever, made a mistake or had a crash and I got around them. But this race was extremely tough for me, for sure. Yeah, I've had other races where I've led the whole race, and that's hard too, because you're holding up the pack, you know, everything. But this race, I was trying so hard to keep up with everybody. And I could, but I had to always be on my proper braking points and had to be all on my line. And I couldn't really make any mistakes. I only made like one mistake. I went a little wide in one corner, but luckily the rider was still pretty far back, so it didn't matter. And and looking at my times, I was consecutive, pretty much almost every lap running 59s, which is really good for me. The last 2 laps, I looked back and the guy was too far away, so I slowed down big time just to relax. So, but yeah, this race was not easy. Yeah, it was good. It was wonderful. I did it. I made it happen. I'm actually, I think I'm the B class champion. B class. A. Don't think so.